Good afternoon once again. My experiences, I've shared this for 26 years now. Well, I was born to a chief imam. My father was a chief imam. I was number 6 of 6 children, and I grew up like every other kid. Got admission to read pharmacy in UI, not because that's what I wanted to read. My dad insisted that that's what I must read. So, and I've said that earlier on. School was not, because of that decision, I didn't feel I belonged there. But and the devil is very smart. Just before the end of my 100 level, a coursemate met me and gave me a little book to read titled The Axiioms of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And then he gave me weed to smoke. So as I started smoking and I was reading the book, the contents of the book summarized simply says the white man education cannot benefit the black man. So with the influence of the weed and the information, I just said, I beg. I dropped out of school. And then I came back home, and me and my dad were discussing. He wanted to know, what do you want to do with your life if you don't want to go to school? And like I said, I'm not a 21st century kid. I'm a 21st century man. It was 20th century. You can understand the kind of discussion. It was not like friend discussion. It was like, okay, I want to. So when he was saying, so what do you want to do? I said, look, me, I'm not going to school again. I want to play music. And that was it. My dad said, nobody in this house will play music. Can't you see what music has done to that man they call Fela Anikulapo Kuti? The thing rang in my head. That's why I said, you must be skillful in communicating. It was a wrong thing for my dad to mention Fela at that age because Fela was so popular, and nobody knew my dad. And I was 16. So when he said so, I said, look at this man. You are a failure. You are talking about somebody that is a success. This is how children process information. So right there and then, 4 days later, I dropped a note and said, Dad, don't bother to look for me. I'll be back in 7 years. Just like every other kid, my mind was, okay, in 7 years, I would have made music. I would have blown. I would have made money. I'll come back home. And children always, when they are rebelling, they always feel that when I go, by the time I'm coming back, if I buy a house for daddy, buy this, they will not talk again. So that was up there. But you see, the journey of several years actually lasted 15 years. So 15 years of this life was wasted in Kalakuta Republic, and a lot of things happened. Before you know it, I graduated from marijuana to cocaine, heroin. Of course, I've started playing music with Fela, which of course I did not learn through human means. I learned music through spiritual process. I did what they call astral projection. In astral projection in metaphysics, when your soul travel out of your body, and I was out of my body for 3 days. By the time I came back, of course, I was filled with knowledge of music. So I went to Fela and said, I want to play in your band. And he said, when did you come to my house? I said, about 7 months ago. He said, get out. You think it's easy to play my band? I said, why don't you test me? So I was tested, and I passed. So I became a bona fide guitarist of Egypt 80 band, and that was in 1984. So we were to travel to go and play a 3 months concert tour in the United States. And he was arrested. We went ahead. The shows were flop. We only played one show in Hollywood Menbo, LA, and they scrapped the whole shows. We were stranded. We now had to play 3 little shows, University of California, Berkeley campus, and then raised money and got back. By the time we got back, Fela was docked in jail by the Diagbo and Buhari regime, and so that was how life just went wild. Before I knew it, things were tough, were hard, Of course, it came out from that problem, and then life continued the shrine, and then the drugs now became problem. To get drugs to smoke, it's plenty of money. A gram of cocaine right now is 14,000 naira. And of course, many parents don't know what cocaine looks like, and you don't care to know. Many of you are hearing tramadol, you don't know what it looks like, you don't care to know. And you are raising children. You see, so you must know. They say, I need to know. That is the name of this foundation that organizes. You must be aware of the things that are happening around your children. How can you be in this century? You don't know how codeine look like. You don't know how tramadol look like. You don't know how Refno. If I say Colorado, you don't know what is called Colorado. If I say Arizona, you don't know what they call Arizona. If I say SK, you don't know what you call SK. and you are raising children. And so when these children say things in your presence, you don't even know what they are talking about. So information is key. Anyway, just to get money to take drugs, I had to join an 11-man armed robbery gang. Okay, so pastor had any yeah, it's the grace of Christ that has brought me thus far. But that's the truth. I joined an 11-man armed robbery gang. I became number 12. We did a lot of things back in the days in the Keji, Industrial Estate, Codeso Street, where you have Julie Pharmacy, and then you remember between 86, 87, 88, some young boys that were robbing in that area. There were about 12 of us. We were all teenagers. The oldest was 21. And just jump out of the car with two Lugans, fire in the air. That was my gang, of course. So a lot of things happen as a robber, okay? But the truth is that if anyone be in Christ, is a new creature. All things are passed away. So I used to be an armed robber. I'm a saint. I'm a preacher. I preach the gospel. Jesus has set me free. I'm a life giver. I'm a life changer. And that's the truth of the gospel. So anyways, from robbery, I had to go deeper because, you don't do robbery you must do some things now. If they shoot you, the bullet should not enter. If they cut you, the knife should not enter. So I did quite a bit of initiation from one place to the other, Started from Ijebu Akaka. I was in Canada. I was in my hotel room in Toronto. So I got a call from Nigeria. Somebody called me and said, Keji, don't come back to Nigeria. The police have arrested all your gang and they have confessed that you are the leader of the gang. I wasn't the leader, but I was a very violent person, So I told the guy I can't stay abroad. And the reason I was scared of staying abroad was my drug habit. Drug makes me very violent. And United States is not like Nigeria. If I live such a violent life, I'm not going to live long. They'll shoot me. So the guy said to me, if you get back, I'm going to take you to where they will cook you. So I got back. We traveled to Ijebu Akaka. We met Babalawo called Baba Monikoro. I think that guy, they said he died 5 years ago. A lot of things happened. Bathing in the river with 13 pieces of sponge and black soap, mixtures, incision and everything. The native rings came back from that. But after that first one, I was literally living in fear every day. So I had to keep going back to get this and get that. Not from that Baba again. I had to travel to Ghana to meet with one. I had to travel to Cotonou to meet with one where I had to sleep inside a cave overnight with a python. Babalawo has to sleep inside the cave. Then I came to Somorika to do bulletproof. And eventually, finally, in 1993, around November or so, we were recording the video recording of Beast of No Nation. That's a song by Fela. Now, some of us will know that song here. How many of us know that song here? Ofe Shelu. So this is my story, Okay, so and God has helped me to move from that part of life to here, and my life is given to humanity, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, so this guy, video recording, live recording, you need a crowd and whatever. There was this guy on the third row. I saw that I was watching me. In that song, I played the piano and the second bass. So when we finished recording, the guy beckoned on me. I jumped down and he said, young boy, I like the way you play. You are very good, my name is this one, so I'm the MD of Life Shield Mortgage Bank, number 11 Allen Avenue. I have money. I want to pump money into your musical career. That's another bit. So I didn't know who he was. I said, okay. So by the time I came back to Nigeria, as an addict, a drug addict is not coordinated. I actually lost his contact and everything. So it was December 93 that I was smoking somewhere in the shrine, and some guys came to call me and said a guy was looking for me inside the car. So when I went to check, it was this guy, and we discussed. Of course, we had a meeting in Sheraton. We discussed, and he said he was going to sponsor the career. So he said I should get a lawyer. He got a lawyer. They drew the contract. Let us sign. He said we can't sign unless me and him enter a covenant. So I didn't even bother to know what he was talking about. I said, let's enter. I said, no, we'll travel to Onitsha. So we traveled. to a place in Kisi. We lodged in Kisi Palace Hotel. So that weekend, I got initiated into a Zenuzaki cult where I took my bath with half bucket of human being blood, and they gave me the covenant food, which was made up of yam porridge and human fresh tongue of human being on top. And I'm like, Madam, what is all this? I said, Madam, I came to just enter a covenant with a business plan. I said, no. You are welcome to Azenuzaki. If you ever tell anybody about this cult, your tongue will rot in your mouth, the sole of your feet will rot in, you'll be on the bed. 7 days after, you will die. Now, that was 26 years ago. And I'm still telling people about it. I just told you, So, Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord. I don't need to argue with anybody. I just told you my history. I was born a Muslim. I worship Shango Yemoja Ogun Shokmono with Fela in shrine. Then I got born again and I'm serving Jesus. So I have migrated from one phase to the other. And I can tell you from my experience that Jesus is Lord. Without apology. I'm sorry. All right? So that is it. Basically, other things happen. Like I was a rapist. I was bad. I was violent. I was ruthless. I murdered. I took life. I did time. If you go to cell 26, Kirikiri Medium, you will see my name on the wall. Keji Hamilton was there. If you go to the prison, Occultism, you will see my name there. But look at me. The grace of God. So what happened? How did I get here? And that's why I always say Jesus is Lord. So one day I was outside the shrine. A policeman came from Area F. You know the shrine, the original shrine is Pepper Street, not far from Lasut. And the Area F police station is not far. So this policeman came, used to smoke with us. Amza is his name. And he said to me, Keji, you have to leave the Keji area. I said, why? He said, the DPO said, if we arrest you again, we should waste you. Now, that was not the first time. The first time they tried killing me was in Adeniji Adele. It was the commissioner that spared my life that night. They were going to shoot me inside where they normally kill people, And when they kill people in the cell, they say one blanket is missing. All right? So, they say, that's my very good friend, a very good friend of mine. He can tell more of that, So, anyways, as this policeman was talking, one of my Ashewo girlfriend was by my side. Please, all my life, I never friended a normal human being. Prostitutes were my girlfriends. And I never used condom. And Jesus watched over me. Today I'm a father and I'm a grandfather. I am married to one wife. I'm a preacher of the gospel. I head a church and I do evangelical outreach. And I speak about drugs everywhere. Schools, nursery, primary, secondary, university. And I go to drug communities. I go to prostitute hotels. The message is for everybody. Okay? It's for everybody. Parents, you need to wise up. You need to wake up. This event is a great event that you must not take lightly. Whatever you are learning. If they are recording all our teachings, you better buy it. You better get it. Information is key. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. What you don't know, you don't know. So eventually, the girl left me and the policeman. And about 3 hours later, the policeman gone. I was smoked up. I was high. Literally floating. This girl came back and said, Keji, I don't want you to die. The policeman said you should leave Ikeja. Let's go to Juelegba. So that was how I migrated. All my life, I grew up in Ikeja. So I migrated with this girl. Mind you, these 15 years, my father, mother, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, I didn't see anybody. I was cut off. Completely cut off. I'm saying this because I don't know if you have a child like that. And like Mom used to say, if you have actually keep them in your prayers, and there was a particular time you show them good love, they can still find their way back. Don't give up on any child. I stand to say that. So, I went with this girl. She showed me a brothel or a guest house on Akbeno Street called Milord Guest House. It's girls that take the rooms, to stay and do their prostitution. So she paid for one room and said, Keji, I don't want you to die. I want you to. The truth was that it's not that she doesn't want me to die. I had too many women, You know, when you are a musician, you are young, you know, and you have charisma. So she wanted to have me to herself. But anyways, it is biblical. I don't know why harlots are always used for the salvation of people. This was a harlot from Imo State. I got into this room. I told her to go and get the manager. I asked for the price. I paid for 6 months. I never knew that God was at work, getting ready to save me. So at this point, I was in that room until May 7, 1994, 26 years ago. Now, before me and that girl stayed for 3 weeks, I added 2 other girls, Igbo girls. There were now 3 of them plus me, 3 prostitutes and 1 man living together, messing up your life big time, but never knowing that you were about to destroy yourself. Somehow, May 7th, I escorted the 3 girls out to Ojuelegba roundabout. I branched a place called Texas in Ojuelegba where they sell drugs. I bought 2 grams of cocaine, 2 grams of heroin, got back to my hotel room. I cooked the cocaine. As I was about to hit it with light and smoke, I heard, as it were, a voice. Young man, if you don't stop this kind of lifestyle you are living, you will die this year. So I looked around and like, who they talk for inside this room? You know? So I thought it was my imagination. So I went ahead, I put a lighter, and I inhaled the smoke. That was when it happened. Immediately I inhaled the smoke. It was like somebody put a knife in my heart. The pain was intense. It was like my heart was shifting, and I felt like throwing up. Then I threw up. Because of the intensity of the pain, I shut my eyes. When I opened my eyes, when I looked, it was blood. I vomited. And I just saw that my hand started shaking. All my life, I don't fear anything. That was the first time I experienced fear. So I remember the voice. So I didn't know what to do. And this was what I did. I took off my clothes. And I said, because a couple of people have tried to tell me about Jesus. I don't listen. But that night, I stood in that room and I said, you, this Jesus that they're always talking about that you can save, if it is true, only one thing I want you to do for me. If you can deliver me from drug addiction, I will serve you all the days of my life. Guess what? He did. For the first time in 15 years, I fell asleep without drugs. I didn't know what happened. But when this thing I said, because it doesn't sound like prayer, because in church you say we should say in Jesus' name. I just say, you, this Jesus, if it is true you can save, deliver me from drugs, I will serve you all this. And that is how I serve my God. Because that's how I met him. Right? So it was around 11:30 in the night, 12. When I opened my eyes, it was 8:30 in the morning. I opened my eyes. I was on the floor. Nobody prayed for me. Nobody laid hand on me. So I was wondering, what am I doing on the floor? I sat up. Then I said to myself, is it that thing I said? Then, of course, the devil spoke. That you go Jones. Any person that knows what drugs is, knows what Jonesing is. Well, by the grace of God, I'm still waiting to Jones. It's 26 years now. And so God delivered me. Of course, I located a church. I went to church the first day. I was not very, very, very welcome because then if you see me, you know it's an animal. Everything was, today people can dress and come to church anyhow. Then, it wasn't allowed. So I came to church wearing earring in my 2 ears. My head was tinted, everything. So when I came in, everybody was like, who is this guy? I sat. The pastor started preaching, and he was pointing. And I felt he was talking to me. He was saying, brother, stop. Ogogoro will kill you. Igbo will kill you. I was angry. Like, what's wrong with this man? But fortunately, and fortunately, not unfortunately, he made the altar call. I was laughing. That does this man think I will come outside? But like, in a second, I didn't know what happened. I fell to my knees at the back. I started crying, and I crawled to the front. Gave my life. A lot of people were crying with me in church, And then after the service, the pastor announced that there's a 3 days revival we should attend. 4 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I attended. On Wednesday night, I got baptized in the Holy Ghost. And till today, I'm still speaking in tongues, praying in tongues, singing in tongues. And then other things follow, like calling and all that. So I found out that when I got saved, I was majorly going to prostitutes and criminals and drug addicts. And my heart was being broken over and over. I bring prostitutes to church. The church will pursue them. I bring prostitutes to church until the last one, somewhere they call Empire. Empire, yeah. But I took some 3 prostitutes to church, sat there, worshiped in that church. I finished. I introduced them to the pastor. I told the pastor, this is who these girls are. I'll be coming to check on them. I came 2 Sundays later. They were not in church. I worshiped. When I finished, I went to meet the pastor. What about those girls? He said, go and look for them where you kept them. So I went to their den. When they saw me, they were screaming. If not so church be, we no one go. At the end of the day, I just started crying. So as I didn't even know that I was walking. I walked from Empire till Ilasamaja, crying. It was when I was passing the canal, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, listen, these people will not believe you. And truly, all that time in church, people will always say, you sure say you don't born again? You sure say you don't born again? Even when God started using me spiritually, some of the church board will say, this thing you are saying, are you sure it's the Spirit of God? And, but it took the grace of God. Anyways, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, you know what? You are an evangelist. They will not believe you. Why don't you set up a place, a church, a base, so that from there you can go and come back. That was how I went into church. So I pastored Tabernacle of Prayer Global Ministries, number 50 Additional Street, Ijesha. And I preach all over the place. By the grace of God, God uses me to heal, to deliver, If you doubt that, you think it's easy to deliver somebody from cocaine and heroin, God uses us. We lay hands, whatever. So this is my story. This is my experience. That I've been through fire and hell, and I'm out to be a blessing. Thank you very much.
Sir, please indulge us. I would like for us to ask questions, because we can't learn all of this and not have questions. In fact, I have a series of questions that I think I'll personally come to see. You will have to sit down and I'll ask all my questions. So, if there's anyone here that has questions, please come now and ask. This is your opportunity. Any questions?
These people now, when they are out, how do we manage them?
Okay.
How do we manage, especially the men? For the women, somehow it may be easy. But the guy is now out of prison, he's born again, and people don't believe him. And we don't know, how do we keep them? What do we do? How do we now handle them? And you can't take them to the pastors, and it's not possible. I don't even allow that. You want to go near any of our ministers, we don't want to lose our minister. So how do we handle that? It's a sensitive case.
Okay. I heard you say that you are doing something with Lagos State government. I want to tell every NGO here, if you are doing anything with government, do something concrete. Do something concrete. Get good information about what you are doing. There's what they call halfway home in Europe and America. A halfway home is a building between the prison and the outside. And the government should sponsor that. Every time I get text messages from Lagos State government, their PRO, everything, that they have houses they are selling. Can't they give us these houses to be used for these purposes? Yeah, it's time, because I'm in this pain, this thing you are talking about. Okay. And I don't know. My brother is here. Brother Elvis. Okay. Do you know this man? You know his story. At least it's an Elvis. Because the first day I met him in prison, I fell in love with him. Genuinely born again. When he sings, when he preaches, fine. Right? The thing is that we Christians, this love we are professing is not real. The Bible says love believes all things. Love believes all things. You preach to me, I gave my life to Christ, I'm serving Christ, I will have excesses. It's your job to disciple and mentor me to come out of those excesses. But when you focus on my excesses, you will not trust me. For years, I was not trusted in church. So the answer to that is halfway home, and government need to give us buildings for that. Okay? And when you are talking to the government, let them know that even by doing this, they are going to create jobs. Because a halfway home, we need care staffers, we need administrative staff, and even you need lower staff. So it depends on the size. And somebody asked me, I oversee a 45-bed capacity rehab center. So one day somebody was asking me that if I want the government to come in. I said, if government want to partner with me in rehab, the rehab will be situated in about 500 acres of land. Everything should be there. So that if we are saying, okay, we want to clear all the drug addicts from Lagos, there's a place to put them. And then there'll be structures put in place. Okay? Minus teachings, minus discipling. Street you have been living for 10, 15 years. If I ask you, how many 3-story buildings are on your street? Can you tell me? Do you know why? That does not concern you. You just wake up, dress, and go and come back. But as I've mentioned this today, I'm sure some of you, as you are going by, you say, wait, let me even see. So what you are not looking for, you can't see. That's one. Then, now, how do you know? There's what we call symptoms. Symptoms. You should be able to identify symptoms. What kind of music is your child listening to? Okay? Let me tell you, I'm a musician. Hip-hop music carries 3 messages: drugs, guns, and sex. That's the message. We have an artist in Nigeria now that is reigning, that has great followership. What does he talk about? Sex, promiscuity, and all that. And it's advertising smoke. It's advertising don't go to school and all that. Now, once your child start to fall in love with these kind of things, then you now start to study. Then the study go deeper. You have to, from time to time, watch him when he comes back. Does he have red eyes when he comes back home? If he's coming, do you see that he has just finished licking tom-tom, or is licking tom-tom, or chewing any chewing gum that has mint? Right? Number 3, like if you are living in a whole house, you rich people, you know that your child before now, anytime he comes in, he will sit down with everybody in the parlor. But now when he's coming, he will just dodge all the chair, pass it by. Hi, mommy. Hi, daddy. Straight to his room. Isolation. It's a pointer to drug use. Now, are things missing in the house? Are there things like, I lost my phone, I lost my phone, I lost my phone? How many times have you changed phone for that child? Because most of the time, the quickest thing to use to buy drugs is your phone. Then are other things missing in the house, like gold rings, gold chains? Are they missing in the house? Those are valuables that drug sellers collect. If you bring a gold ring, they give you 1 gram of cocaine and take it. Right? These are some of the things you look out for. Then, those of you living in big houses, from time to time, when the kids are not there, go into the room and check the waste paper basket. Do you find bottles of codeine there? Or do you find half bottles of codeine inside the room? You see things like foil paper. You know foil paper? Not the one that you use it to do cake, or maybe the one they used to do cake, they use it also, or from cigarette paper. That's the one they used to chase heroin. Okay? Do you see money? Money wrapped like pipe. Wrapped like pipe. That's what they used to chase the dragon. Chase the dragon is a phrase used when you are running heroin and papers. Okay? Now, your child, has he started? He now loves to wear T-shirts that are advertising drugs. Recently this cap came out that you just see marijuana leaf. You just used to decorate it. Why should your child decide to wear? Because everybody knows that this thing is bad. When your child now decides to, he might tell you that it's just fashion. No. Okay? Does he like wearing things that advertise drugs? So these are some of his. Then, have you noticed that since your child enter university, in the morning, once he wakes up in the morning, he will not be very friendly with everybody. And he'll be rushing to go out. But immediately he goes out and is coming back, he'll be smiling with everybody. Now, in drug usage, there's what we call cure. Because when you start taking drug, it's pleasure. But at a point, it becomes a disease. So if you go to joint, when the drug addict wakes up in the morning, say, I want to go and cure. So until they cure, they are not normal. They can't be friendly. They don't laugh. They don't want to do any work. They just wake up and they want to go out. So most of them, sophisticated ones like these boys that stay abroad, the brain they use now is that in the morning they quickly wear joggers and say, I'm going to jog. It's a lie. They are jogging to where they buy smoke, then jog back and all that. So you need to open your eyes. Have I said enough?
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
You actually can't say it all because it's a lot. It's a lot to cover.
Plenty.
I believe that a lot of us here have learned a lot. I want to believe that your coming here has not been a waste of time because my coming here has not been a waste of time. Nobody is saying, my own coming here has not been a waste of time. I don't know about you. I mean, it's been worth the while. Thank you so much, Pastor Keji. God bless you.
Pastor Keji, please.
Before I drop this mic, okay, let me tell everybody here. What is Johnson? Drug is very sweet. Johnson, when you wake up in the morning, because drug have run out of your system, okay? These are the things you experience. Number one, you'll be feeling cold, and at the same time, you'll be sweating. You'll be feeling pains in all your joints. Your stomach will be rumbling. You will feel like vomiting. And at times, you actually vomit. And then you'll be stooling as if you are purging. And until you take the drug, none of those things will cease. Even if you go and take normal medicine, doctors prescribe medicine, it will not stop. Until you take the drug that you are addicted to. So my advice is, why will you use something that makes you sick every morning until you have it? And that is why people get addicted. Because once that sickness starts, you must treat it. And once it starts, you must treat it. Once it starts, you must treat it. And it becomes on and on and on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.